Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today we have two races. It is stage 5A and 5B of race Makuri. 5A is Twilight Harbour, which is a very short race, 5 kilometers and relatively flat, so hoping to do quite well there. 5B is in, I can't remember where it is, but it's on a hilly course, so hopefully that one will be a bit harder. About 7 kilometers, about 120 meters of climbing. So 5A hoping to do well, 5B not sure what to expect. So yeah, I've never done either of these courses, I don't think, so it should be pretty good, new to me. Anyway, so today is a very important day in my Zwift career. It is the day when I finally decide to weigh myself, and I am now 96 kilograms, which is 2 kilograms less than before. So I get to do the whole changing of the weight on Zwift, which I'm very happy about. So let me just get that done. Anyway, so just gonna do a quick warm up and then I'm gonna get started. About 15 minutes to go. Let's see how it is.
So just about to start here, 5 seconds to go. Typical Zwift start with a lot of power. Thank you, Ben, for your message. I couldn't quite reply to it because my keyboard there was something wrong with it. Anyway, at the start here, I put out way too much power. I sprinted as hard as I can just in case someone else was going to go for it, but I've ended up getting myself a tiny little lead here, which is pointless because I'm obviously not going to stay at the front for the whole race, so got to dial it back down a bit, wait for everyone else to catch up, and then just sit in for the draft. This is a pretty flat race, so hoping to do quite well here, definitely hoping to get on the podium at least. So yeah, everyone's caught back up now, time to just save energy, as is the fashion in Zwift races. It's always just about saving energy for the final sprint, really. So if you're looking at my screen and thinking, what's this weird thing on the right hand side? This is an overlay you can get for Zwift called a Source for Zwift, and it has various different features you can use. The one I'm using here shows you the groups, which is much easier to understand rather than looking at the Zwift normal menu on the side here. So it just makes it a bit easier to understand what's sort of going on in the race. Like, it doesn't affect your power output or anything, but it just makes it easier to see the numbers and stuff. So yeah, using that you can see that a group has formed at the front, and then behind there's 2 smaller groups. So my goal for this one is just to sit in this front group, save as much power as possible, and just take it easy, really. There shouldn't really be any opportunities for anyone to get away on this because it's such a flat course, so it should just be saving energy in the draft is the strategy for most people. My power at the moment is about 250, heart rate 168, which seems a bit high for that, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't think my Zwift fitness is really up to scratch at the moment. I've still been riding outside a lot more because the weather has actually been holding out quite well. However, this week it is starting to get into like the negatives, so yeah, not too great. I did a 100-mile ride earlier in the week, so my legs are still a bit tired from that. If you want to see that video, I'll put a link at the top. It was pretty cool. I really prefer these flat races because if there's no uphill, then I can just sort of sit in the draft and not really use that much energy. You can see the graph at the bottom, it shows it's blue and green. That sort of means it's in my comfort zone. If it goes to yellow, it means you're really pushing a bit hard, and then red is like all out max effort. You can see it was red at the beginning when I decided to sprint away from everyone. So now that winter's really here, I'm going to focus on doing more long, low intensity rides because I'm really trying to lose weight at the moment because that's my biggest problem. Still sitting at like 96 kilograms, which is very heavy for a cyclist, I reckon. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot more races soon, and I'm going to be posting which races I'm going to do on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you can check that out, and then maybe we can race together. That would be pretty cool. So yeah. So I'll be honest with you, this race doesn't really have much going on, it's just a group sitting together, so let's skip forward to the last 2 kilometers or so. So getting towards the business end of things now, I've obtained a feather, which isn't the most useful power up, but you know, you just got to deal with what you get. As you can see from the paragraph at the bottom, not really much has happened. I had to put down a bit of power at some points just to make sure I stuck with the group, because obviously getting dropped is the worst thing that could happen. The group's still about the same size, 18 people in it, putting out quite a lot of power, going 50 kilometers an hour, which is pretty damn fast, I must say. So yeah, 1 kilometer to go. Everyone's gonna start getting ready for the final sprint. My plan here is just to react to what everyone else does. Hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. My heart rate is actually pretty high at 175. Normally for this amount of watts I would expect it to be a bit lower than that, so this is actually a pretty tough race so far. Even though it's so flat, I don't think my Zwift fitness really is anywhere good at the moment, so hopefully during the winter that will get better. So yeah, 1.3 kilometers go, no one's making a move yet. This is a pretty strange course, just sort of weaving in and out the shoppers here. So at this point it's always important to look at the power numbers on the right, just in case someone really decides to go for an early one. But it doesn't seem anyone's really thinking about that at the moment. 1.1 kilometers to go, and it's really getting tense. This is the worst bit. I haven't actually been in a big sprint like this for a long time. Mostly the races I do aren't actually this busy, so it's quite nice to be in a big race for once. Heart rate 178, almost 180, so that is so high for me, even though I'm not really pushing that many watts, so not great, not great. Almost there, 0.9 kilometers to go. This is the business end now. So now one of the guys at the front decides to make his move very early, I must say, and I try to react by using my feather, but if you look at the picture of me, I really cannot figure out how to press the button on my phone because it's so far away. But I do actually manage to do it eventually. So I'm sitting in a comfortable 18th place here, and this is not a good place to be. I'm way back. So the guy at the front actually might do this. He's looking good for this. So let's see if I've got anything left in the tank for these final few seconds.
Yes! Ah! Come on! Ah! Alright, 7 minutes, get a breath back. I have a secret up my sleeve, which is a bike change. So this one has a gravel climb at the end, so changing bikes, advanced Zwift tactics right there. That's the Specialized Crux, lightest gravel bike in the world.
So the break is over and I had about a 7-minute rest, and now it's time for the second race. This one is much more hilly, so it's definitely not going to suit me. I do not feel recovered at all. I feel pretty terrible, to be honest. I definitely gave it all in that sprint at the end of the last race. So yeah, aims for this one are just to stick with the front group. So let's see how it goes. The problem I have is that I changed bikes, so the gravel bike is going to be better on the climb in the gravel, but worse on the road here. So I'm going to have to work quite hard in this bit just to keep with everyone. So let's speed it up a bit because this race is what's commonly known as an absolute mare. So sticking with the front group throughout the first 2-3 kilometers, but then after a while this steepness just gets way too much for me, and I cannot handle it. My legs are not feeling good. I am just so exhausted from the first one. I feel terrible. But yeah, so what happens in this race is I basically just end up on my own, just trying to get up. So I'm just trying to stick with anyone who overtakes me, which is pretty much the entire field at this point. Sitting in 18th out of 35, 20th out of 35. So yeah, this isn't my greatest race ever. So let's just skip forward a bit to the end. I'm just putting down like 150 watts because I'm so done. So final kilometer to go, and I found myself someone to race against because I was just being overtaken by everyone. A reason to put down a few more watts. During most of it I was putting out like 150, 200, but now I've got a reason to chase someone down, so I'm trying to put down about 300 just to see if I can get by him at the last few moments. Not that it's anything to shout about, we're fighting over like 25th place, but I'm happy about my win from earlier, so yeah, I can't win them all. So just crossing the finish line here. These two races were pretty good fun. I'm going to try and find some less intense but longer races, because that's what I'm going to try focus on. Longer races to try and lose weight.
Oh. Alright, overall first race, very good. Very happy to win that on the sprint. I think I left too little in the tank though. This second one, I was done after like a quarter of the way. Just a slog getting up that hill, but you know, climbing will never be my strong point, being so heavy, but I'm glad I won the sprint on the first one, so yeah. So I've been meaning to be posting about what races I'm going to do, so if you follow my Instagram or my Zwift, I'll be posting what races I'm going to enter, and then you guys can join in. That'll be pretty fun. I definitely need to sort this set up a bit more. I need to get a table here, because my keyboard's down here on the chair, and it's a bit awkward at the moment, but that's a problem for the future. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.